My mother leaned across the white tablecloth and whispered the words that had defined my entire childhood. "Don't embarrass us tonight." This was my graduation dinner from Johns Hopkins Medical School, and she was more concerned about appearances than my achievement. But when the dean of the medical school walked directly to our table, what he revealed made my mother's face go white, and suddenly, everyone in that restaurant knew exactly who should be embarrassed. "My name is Emma Richardson. I'm 22 years old, and I just graduated from one of the most prestigious medical schools in the country." But if you asked my mother, you'd think I barely scraped through community college. She'd spent my entire life disappointed in me, too awkward, too plain, too focused on books instead of the country club social scene she valued. My father just went along with whatever she said, always taking the path of least resistance. Tonight was supposed to be my celebration dinner at an upscale restaurant in Baltimore. But the moment we sat down, I knew it would be another performance where I played the supporting role in my mother's production. We'd been seated for maybe 10 minutes when my mother started. "Emma, sit up straighter. You're slouching." I straightened. "And for God's sake, don't order the most expensive thing on the menu. People will think you're taking advantage. Mom, you chose this restaurant. That's not the point. Just be mindful." The waiter came. I ordered a simple pasta. My mother ordered the filet mignon, then shot me a look as if to say, "See how it's done." "So," my father said, clearly trying to fill the awkward silence, "medical school is done." "That's quite an accomplishment." "It is," my mother agreed. "Though I still don't understand why she had to go to Hopkins, so far from home." "So expensive." "I had a full scholarship, Mom." "Well, yes, but still. The student loans you must have." "I don't have loans." "The scholarship covered everything." My mother waved her hand dismissively. "Regardless, now you'll do your residency somewhere normal, I hope. Maybe locally. You could live at home, save money." "I haven't decided yet." "Emma." Her voice had that edge. "You need to start thinking practically. You're not getting any younger. You need to establish yourself, meet the right people, find someone suitable to settle down with. I just finished medical school." "I think I have time." "That attitude is exactly what I'm talking about." She lowered her voice, but people at nearby tables could still hear. "You've always been so difficult. Never thinking about how your choices affect this family. Do you know what I tell people when they ask about you? I don't even know what to say. You're so peculiar." I felt the familiar sting of her words, but I'd learned to hide it. Our food arrived. As we ate, my mother continued her commentary. "That dress doesn't fit you properly. You should have let me help you choose something. You need to do something about your hair, it's so flat. Don't talk with your hands. It makes you look frantic." Each comment was a small cut, but together they were bleeding me dry. Then her phone buzzed. She checked it, and her face lit up. "Oh, Carol just texted. Her daughter Madison just got engaged. To a doctor, no less. Madison's only 24. See, Emma? That's what I'm talking about. Madison has her priorities straight. That's great for Madison. Don't be sarcastic. It's unbecoming." She took a sip of wine. "I'm just saying you could learn something from girls like her. She knows how to present herself, how to make her family proud." I was about to respond when I noticed someone approaching our table. A distinguished man in his 60s, wearing a suit, walking with purpose directly toward us. My mother saw him too. Her entire demeanor changed. She sat up straighter, put on her practiced smile, the one she used for people she wanted to impress. "Oh," she whispered urgently. "Emma, that's someone important looking." "Don't say anything stupid." The man reached our table and smiled warmly. At me. "Emma Richardson." "Yes, sir. I'm Dean Carlson." "From Johns Hopkins." My mother's eyes went wide. The dean of the medical school was standing at our table. "Dean Carlson, this is wonderful," she gushed, extending her hand. "I'm Veronica Richardson, Emma's mother." "We're so pleased to meet you." He shook her hand politely but kept his attention on me. "Emma, I'm sorry to interrupt your dinner, but I wanted to speak with you personally. Do you have a moment?" "Of course." My mother beamed, clearly thinking this was some kind of recognition that would validate her in front of the other diners. Dean Carlson pulled up a chair. Emma first, congratulations on your graduation. But I'm here because something extraordinary happened that I felt your family should know about. My mother leaned forward eagerly. As you know, every year we award the Osler Medal to the graduating student who demonstrates exceptional clinical skill, research contribution, and dedication to patient care. It's our highest honor. Oh, how wonderful, my mother interrupted. We've heard about that award, haven't we, Richard? My father nodded, though he clearly had no idea what she was talking about. This year, Dean Carlson continued. The faculty vote was unanimous. For the first time in 20 years, every single professor voted for the same student. He looked directly at me. Emma, you've been awarded the Osler Medal. You had the highest academic scores in your class. But more than that, your research on pediatric cardiac interventions has already been cited in 3 major journals. Your clinical rotations received perfect evaluations from every attending physician. Several specifically mentioned that in 30 years of teaching, they'd never seen a medical student with your combination of skill, compassion, and dedication. My mother's smile was frozen on her face. Additionally, Dean Carlson continued, I wanted to personally inform you that Massachusetts General Hospital has offered you a position in their pediatric surgery residency program. It's the most competitive residency in the country. They've never extended an offer to a Hopkins graduate without the candidate applying first, but your work preceded you. They want you specifically. The restaurant had gone quiet. People at other tables were listening. Finally, and this is why I wanted to tell you in person, the National Institutes of Health has awarded you the Ruth L. Kirstein National Research Service Award. It's a full fellowship, including a $50,000 annual stipend for your research on minimally invasive cardiac procedures for children. My hands were shaking. I'd known about the Osler Medal, they'd told me yesterday. But the residency offer and the NIH fellowship were complete surprises. Emma, Dean Carlson said warmly, you're not just one of our best graduates. You're one of the best medical students this institution has ever produced. Your professors wanted me to tell you that personally. And your family should know what an extraordinary person they have. He stood, shook my hand, nodded to my parents, and walked back to his table across the restaurant. The silence at our table was deafening. My mother's face had gone from white to red. My father stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Double quotes, my mother started, then stopped. The Osler Medal? I found out yesterday. Massachusetts General? The NIH? I just learned about those. She sat back and I saw something I'd never seen before. My mother was speechless. Emma, my father finally said, why didn't you tell us any of this? Would you have wanted to hear it? The words came out more bitter than I intended. Mom's been telling me for 22 years that I'm peculiar, difficult, and embarrassment. Tonight, at my graduation dinner, the first thing she said was, don't embarrass us. So no, I didn't think you'd want to hear about my achievements. My mother found her voice. That's not fair. I never said. You said it 5 minutes ago, Mom. And you've been saying versions of it my entire life. I'm not sophisticated enough. Not social enough. Not pretty enough. Not normal enough. Nothing I did was ever good enough for you. I was trying to help you. You were trying to make me into someone. I'm not. I felt tears coming but pushed them back. Do you know why I worked 2 jobs through medical school even though I had a full scholarship? Because I didn't want to owe you anything. I didn't want you to be able to hold it over me. Emma, Do you know why I didn't tell you about my research or my clinical scores or any of my achievements? Because every time I tried, you changed the subject. You'd rather talk about daughter Madison and her engagement than hear about my work saving children jives. The nearby tables weren't even pretending not to listen anymore. My mother's eyes were filling with tears. I'm your mother. I've always wanted what's best for you. No, Mom, you've always wanted me to be what was best for you. What looked good. What fit your image of success. And because I didn't fit that image, you've spent my entire life making me feel like I was defective. My father reached across the table. Emma, we're proud of you. We didn't realize, you didn't realize because you never asked. You never looked. You were so busy being disappointed in who I was that you never saw who I was becoming. I stood up, pulling out my wallet. Where are you going? My mother asked, panic in her voice. To have dinner with people who actually want to celebrate me. Dean Carlson invited me to join his table. People who respect my work, who value my achievements, who see me as something other than an embarrassment. I put $200 on the table, more than enough to cover my meal. Emma, please, my mother said, and for the first time in my life, she sounded genuinely distressed. Don't leave like this. I looked at her, really looked at her. You told me not to embarrass you tonight, Mom. But the only person who should be embarrassed is you. Because everyone in this restaurant just heard the dean of Johns Hopkins Medical School describe your daughter as extraordinary. And 5 minutes before that, they heard you tell me I am peculiar and difficult, and that I should be more like someone else's daughter. I walked across the restaurant to where Dean Carlson was sitting with several faculty members. They welcomed me warmly, made space, ordered champagne. From across the room, I could see my mother sitting at our table, staring at her plate, while my father awkwardly tried to comfort her. One of the professors, Dr. Chen, raised her glass. To Emma, not just for her achievements, but for having the strength to choose excellence even when it wasn't easy. They didn't know the full context, but somehow those words meant everything. Later that night, my mother called. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again. And again. Finally, I answered. Emma. Her voice was small, broken. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Answered. Emma. Her voice was small, broken. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't respond. I was wrong. About everything. I was so focused on what I thought you should be that I never saw what you actually were. And you're extraordinary. I know, Mom. The dean said so. Don't. She was crying now. Don't do that. I deserve it, but don't. I took a breath. Mom, I'm not doing this to hurt you. But I need you to understand. I spent 22 years trying to earn your approval. Trying to be good enough. And tonight, I realized I've been good enough all along. You just couldn't see it. Can we start over? She asked desperately. Can I try again? Maybe. But Mom, if you want to be part of my life, you need to accept who I actually am. Not who you wish I was. The awkward, peculiar, book-obsessed daughter who's going to be a pediatric surgeon. That's who I am. Can you love that person? There was a long silence. I'm going to try. I promise I'm going to try. My name is Emma Richardson. I'm 22 years old. At my graduation dinner, my mother told me not to embarrass the family. But when the dean of Johns Hopkins Medical School approached our table and revealed that I was one of the most accomplished graduates in the school, my mother learned a painful lesson. Sometimes the person you've been trying to hide is the one everyone else sees as extraordinary. I don't know if my relationship with my mother will heal, but I do know that I don't need her validation anymore. The people who matter, my professors, my patients, my colleagues, they see my value. And finally, so do I.